Gretchen, we always on this podcast talk about the importance of getting good sleep. And part of good sleep is a great pillow. There are side sleepers, back sleepers, even starfishes. I'm a side sleeper. And Gretchen, I got a pillow from Coop Sleep Goods that is so perfect for me. I went from using like 2 pillows together that were not quite right to using my one Coop pillow, which is perfect. I love it.
Visit coopsleepgoods.com/happier to get 20% off your first order. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/happier.
At Great Wolf Lodge, you can take your whole family on an unforgettable adventure. It's a world of fun all under one roof. I happen to love water slides, and there are so many water slides and other amazing water attractions at Great Wolf Lodge.
And best of all, it's just a short drive away. So bring your pack together and wolf out. Learn more at greatwolf.com, greatwolf.com. Book now and strengthen your pack at Great Wolf Lodge.
Lemonada.
Hello and welcome to Happier, a podcast where we talk about how to make our lives happier, healthier, more productive, and more creative. This week, it's a very special episode because every 10th episode is a very special episode. And in honor of spring, we're going to be talking about products, habits, and hacks that have been most useful to us personally when it comes to clutter clearing and organizing. I'm Gretchen Rubin, a writer who studies happiness, good habits, outer order, inner calm, and secrets of adulthood. I'm in my little home office in New York City, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my sister, Elizabeth Kraft. And Elizabeth, I think I enjoy this subject more than you do.
Mm-hmm. That's me, Elizabeth Kraft, a TV writer and producer living in LA. And yes, Gretch, spring cleaning and organizing is definitely not one of my strengths, but all the better that we're having this episode.
There are many things that have worked for you, so they'll be fun to share.
Yes.
Okay, the update before we jump in, I have to say, okay, my book is out in the world, Secrets of Adulthood. It is so fun. I love being out on tour. I love having my book out in the world. But Elizabeth, I had this huge insight just the other day about my book. Okay,
What?
So this is Secrets of Adulthood, right? I love aphorisms, which is, these short, powerful sentences that convey some deep insight into human nature. And I've had this gigantic collection of aphorisms from other people that I've collected, as well as the ones that I've written. But I just made a connection. One of my favorite books of all time, a book that I have read and reread countless times, is Madeleine L'Engle's book, A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes.
And I finally realized and remembered that in that novel, Mrs. Who often quotes aphorisms. These are kind of angelic creatures that are coming from another plane. And the point is made that she finds it hard to put her thoughts into words. And so she will often quote these famous aphorisms rather than formulate her own words. And even as a child, I remember this as being one of the first times where I was reading a novel or a book and understanding it as a writer, understanding this was a writerly choice to include this text and that it was affecting me as a reader. And I was super interested in it. And I loved this. It was one of my favorite aspects of the book. And it's only a day ago that I was like, doing, the connection is made in my mind to this book that I've loved ever since I was a little kid.
Here you are, Gretch, full circle moment.
Full circle moment. But okay, now let's switch gears and let's talk about spring cleaning and organizing. And first up, this is the stage that a lot of people skip, but it is an essential step, which is the first thing to do is get rid of the things that you do not need, use, or love. You can donate them, you can give them away, you can throw them away, you can recycle them wherever they belong. You can just get rid of them, and then you will have less to clean and less to organize.
Yes, that is always the place to start.
Okay, so let's just point out the low-hanging fruit for most of us.
Yes, well, cleaning out the fridge and freezer of things and the pantry, etc., of things that have expired. I would also add to that the medicine cabinet. I have found medicine that expired, in like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So anything expired or just
It's got freezer
too
burn.
old.
Yeah,
Yes.
so nobody's going to eat it. It's a little hunk of something that, nobody's
Yes.
going to, yeah. I have a friend who said to me, I finally cleaned out my fridge and now I know I can switch careers. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. Here's another thing. Look for things that are on the floor. For many of us, there's just stuff that's just on the floor because we don't know where else to put it. I remember I went over to help a friend clear clutter and we just got the stuff off the floor of his closet and his apartment looked like it tripled in size. It was just bananas. And so just look around and be like, and I remember going to another friend of mine's house and her whole hallway was lined with little piles of things. And it just made everything look very cluttered. And it's like, why is this stuff like just sitting on the floor in your hallway? And she was like, I don't really know. And we just put it all away. Yeah.
Nice. And then sort of akin to that is looking for dump zones where stuff accumulates. This would be the dining room table.
Yeah.
For me, this would be my treadmill desk.
Kitchen counter.
Yes, we all have those spots.
Bedside table. There's like a chair in your bedroom where you just dump stuff. Yeah. And also things that are clear tend to stay clear and things that are cluttered tend to get more cluttered. And so sometimes if you clear off a dump zone, then you're more inclined to keep it all from accumulating again. And here's a question, Elizabeth. I remember we were astonished by how much this struck a chord with listeners when we first raised it years ago, which was this question of what do you do with clothes that are neither dirty nor clean? You've worn a sweatshirt a couple times, so it's not clean, but it's also not dirty. It's not ready to be washed yet. And for some people, they feel very uncomfortable putting these things next to things that are actually clean. And so maybe you need to create some kind of intermediate space like hooks or a coat hook or some kind of bin where things go that are neither dirty nor clean.
Yes, I call that clothes purgatory. And I definitely have that right now, Gretchen, in terms of clutter. I have 10 different items of clothes that are in clothes purgatory. And here's what happens. First, I put it aside somewhere neatly because I'm deciding what to do with it. But then over time, it becomes a crumpled ball, at which point I have to have it clean. So the decision makes itself over time, and it may not be the decision I wanted to make. But if I go through and get all the clothes out of the clothes purgatory, then it does make my closet look a whole lot better.
Yeah. Well, I think for you, this is often about dry cleaning.
Yes. For me, it's often about dry cleaning. And to a lesser extent, jeans, do I wash them or do I wear them again? Because we all know that's the science to how often you want to be washing your jeans.
Yes. Decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is the plague of life. Well, then next up is adding things. One of my secrets of adulthood is that the opposite of a profound truth is also true. So it's really important to get rid of things, but sometimes you can get more organized by buying things, by buying something to help you get organized. Now, you want to avoid the impulse to just run out and buy organizing stuff.
Yes.
You don't want to just cram more junk into the same amount of space using some newfangled bins. But it is true that sometimes a tool can make life much easier and that a purchase can actually buy us a lot of convenience and save time and saved effort. A friend of mine had been working remotely for well over a year, maybe 2 years, and she didn't have a printer. And I'm like, how do you print things if you need to print? She goes, oh, well, there's a little store down the street from my house. And I'm like, I think you should spring for a printer. You work full time from home.
Yes.
I remember when I finally got a little bookshelf in my office, because my office is really, really small. I didn't know if I had room for a bookshelf, but actually having a bookshelf made it so much easier to put things away and find things later that it was a really good thing to add.
Yeah, Gretchen, recently I realized I was soon going to run out of 3-hole punch paper. So I went ahead and ordered 3 reams of it so that I would have it and I'd be more organized when I did need to print. Speaking of printing, as opposed to waiting for it to run out.
I never get 3-hole punch paper. Why do you get that?
Oh, for scripts. So when we print scripts, we then put brads in them, which are the little bendy things so that you can read it like a book.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I print almost everything is on 3-hole punch paper.
Yes, I always forget about your whole relationship with brads until I go to your office and I'm like, oh, there's so many brads. That's something that I just simply do not have. Here's something, okay, this is an edge case, but I will suggest it because I do love it. I have a paper cutter. Now, you want to be careful of this if you have little kids around because they really can be quite dangerous. I do not need it often, but when I do need it, it is exactly what I need. It cuts paper perfectly straight so easily. And now with my watercolor, I've been cutting watercolor paper into smaller pieces. Having the tool that does exactly what you need to do is so satisfying. If you're trying to trim a photograph, say, if you find yourself doing that thing frequently, it might be that this is a tool that would allow you to do it much more efficiently and effectively. And there's something kind of elevating about that. But it's the kind of thing that if you need it, you need it. And if you don't need it, don't get it.
Well, I always think of Mom making really cool invitations and using her paper cutter to cut the sides of the invitation.
Yeah.
I'm realizing the spring cleaning, spring fresh thing has two elements. There's the getting rid of things and cleaning, but then there's also the just setting the stage so that you're ready for spring. Like my paper has me ready for spring.
Well, it's related to organizing and having this feeling of things being in the right place and things at the ready and having that orderly household, which means things being put away, not having a bunch of junk you don't need, and also like having the supplies you need. It's all part of setting up that atmosphere.
All right, Gretch, coming up, we're going to talk about some tools we both love for making clutter clearing and organizing easier. But first, this break.
So, Elizabeth, you know that we have our lake house now. It is a dream come true, but that means that we have home projects. And for anyone who has a home project, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things renovation. Wayfair has stylish and quality home improvement products for every budget. Now, one of the things I needed was stuff to get organized in the bathroom. But even if you want to do a major renovation, at Wayfair, they have vanities, vanity lights, mirrors, toilets and tubs, sinks and faucets, backsplash, and everything you need for bathroom storage.
Yeah, Wayfair's huge selection of home improvement items makes it easy to find exactly what's right for you. And it is easy to shop on any budget. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. Shop the best selection of home improvement online. Get renovating with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Gretchen, we always on this podcast talk about the importance of getting good sleep. And part of good sleep is a great pillow. There are side sleepers, back sleepers, even starfishes. I'm a side sleeper. And it really matters how your pillow fits with your head, whatever position you're in. Gretchen, I got a pillow from Coop Sleep Goods that is so perfect for me. I went from using like two pillows together that were not quite right to using my one Coop pillow, which is perfect. And it's for cool sleepers, so I don't wake up all sweaty in the middle of the night. I love it.
And also with Coop Sleep Goods, you get a 100-night free trial. 86% of sleepers reported better sleep after switching their pillows to Coop. There are more than 100,000 five-star reviews and over 1 million happy sleepers. Visit coopsleepgoods.com /happier to get 20% off your first order. That's COOP sleepgoods.com /happier. Okay, let's talk about some of our favorite tools. Again, we don't want to say that everybody should run out and buy stuff. Absolutely not. That is not what this is about. But sometimes the right tool can make a huge difference. And so here are some tools that have worked for us.
Yes. Well, first off, Gretch, I have to point out your book, which you mentioned, Outer Order, Inner Calm, which has many, many very practical tips.
Yes. If you like this kind of thing, you will enjoy that book because it's crammed full of all of my favorite strategies. Love that. Now, here's something that I have to thank a listener for, because a listener wrote in about using a rolling 3-tier cart. She uses it related to cleaning up after Thanksgiving, and it was a way to get dishes and stuff out of the way quickly and easily. But when I looked online at this cart, I was like, that looks like a really, really useful thing to have. And I now use this for my watercolors because I can have all my paints, my brushes. I use a hair dryer because sometimes I want to dry it faster. I have erasers. I have a spray bottle. I have a palette. I have all this sort of stuff. I leave it out all the time because, Elizabeth, one of our principles is if you want yourself to do something, you want to make it very, very convenient to do it. So I leave everything out, but then sometimes I need to put it away quickly, or there's something I only use. It's a brush that I don't use that often, but I want to have it at the ready. And having this cart makes it easy to have everything very accessible. And then if I need to gather everything up and get it out of the way, I can just quickly put it on the cart and roll the cart away. And it was super easy to put it together. So I really love this cart. I can imagine using this for like children's art supplies or making some elaborate project that has a lot of different stages. It's a way to be organized, but then also whisk things out of sight if you need to.
Yes, very useful cart. Another thing is magic erasers.
Yes.
These things really are magic at making mess and grease and things disappear. Something you think can't work, but it does.
I mean, where has this been all my life? I only heard about this like a year ago, and everybody's like, how have you not heard about this? I'm like, I don't know. When did the memo go out? They are really, really handy things to have.
Yes, and they have one for deodorant, when you get white deodorant on your black sleeveless shirt, and it seems impossible to get out. There's a magic eraser for that.
And then we just mentioned command hooks. If Eleanor were here, she would be vehemently telling everybody about command hooks. When we interviewed her about her freshman experience and her advice, she talked about command hooks. And I mean, I was flabbergasted by how many command hooks she was able to use. I don't understand how they work because they stick on the wall and they'll hold up something very heavy, but then you can just take them off. It's just like, how is that possible? I don't understand it. But if you want to hang something up in an easy way, command hooks.
Now, Gretch, here's a organizing item that it's not really spring cleaning, but if you're going on a spring break trip, this would be useful, which is packing cubes.
Oh.
You know I love packing cubes. Sarah introduced me to them. I have given them, I think, to almost everybody in the family.
You have.
One of my favorite gifts to give now, like to a graduate, is monogram packing cubes. And people go, why do they help? I don't know. They just do. They make packing easier. And also what I like about them is then when you have dirty clothes, you can put them in another packing cube so that you separate the clean from the dirty in your suitcase.
It's funny because Eliza and Eleanor are both constantly asking if we have more packing cubes than even the set that you gave them. It's like a set of packing cubes just simply isn't enough. I mean, how many packing cubes can one family use? A lot. So it is funny why those work so well. Okay, here's something that I recently got and I love them. Now, there's some controversy about what you call them. They are traditionally called Lazy Susans, but people named Susan do not like this name for the Lazy Susan. So I will now refer to them as shelf spinners. But this is like this round thing that you put in a shelf and you spin it around. And the fact is, if this thing fits in a space, it's amazing. I had never really embraced the shelf spinner, and now recently I bought 3, and I love them. It just makes it so much easier to get access to something that otherwise you would be sort of trying to fumble around in the back of a cupboard.
And of course, Gretch, I have to mention when this comes up, our grandparents had Lazy Susan in a corner cabinet in the kitchen, and it always had the Pop-Tarts on that shelf spinner, I should say.
Well, maybe that's why I have such affection for a shelf spinner, because we were very drawn to that in our grandparents' kitchen. It was right in the corner. It had a very specific smell. It was, happy memories. Swedish dishcloths or little cloths that you use instead of paper towels if you're just wiping surfaces or cleaning something up. They're just reusable. They're absorbent. You just run through them and wash them. Those are really handy.
Yes.
Then you don't have to buy a ton of paper towels all the time.
And then again, sort of like the paper cutter, this is something you may or may not need, a label maker.
Yes. Label makers. Well, this is also a good example of a principle of like, do you have duplicates of something where you really only need one? So it turned out I had 2 label makers. Why did I have 2? I don't know. I wasn't using either one of them. So I got them out and I was sort of like, I should like come to grips with my label maker situation. Well, Eleanor saw them and she swooped in and she took one. She's a total label maker type of person. And so she just took one. So that was good because I only need one. And now I'm like, oh yes, now I realize I do have a label maker. And if I wanted to use this, it could be very useful, but I only needed one. So it was great to just give away the one that isn't needed, but they are really handy if you want to label anything.
Yes. Gretchen, this is something Sarah gave me for Christmas this year. This year, she gave me sort of all of her favorite things from 2024, which is such a great gift.
What a great gift.
Yes, great idea. And one of the things was Guardsman reusable watermark remover cloth. So I didn't know you could remove watermarks, but apparently you can. And this cloth, if somebody doesn't use a coaster, you can use this cloth to remove the watermark. So super handy, very small, just something you can stick in a drawer and have available.
Oh, because that is one of those things, like, you feel like, oh my gosh, I've ruined this whole piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, I want to mention something you gave me for Christmas, I think 2 years ago. They're called wall pops, and they're these sticky...
It's like a decal.
It's like, it's a decal that you stick, but it's dry erase. I'm constantly writing notes to myself or like, oh, you look this up or remember to do this. And I'll just scribble it down on all these notes that are just clutter everywhere. And this is a way I could just have it on the wall next to my desk and I can write it there. But I can imagine somebody putting it in the kitchen.
Yes.
To add things to get from the grocery store, or putting it near the door so that there's like, don't forget to take your library books to school tomorrow or whatever.
Yes.
And then you could just peel it right off. You could just put it exactly where you want it to be, but you can move it at any time. That's very handy.
Yes, and they do come in different colors, which is fun. I think I gave you white, but they do have lots of colors.
You gave me white and you gave me sort of an aqua.
Oh.
There you go.
And Gretchen, I know you love a digital scale.
Yeah, well, I end up having to mail a bunch of things. Let's say somebody requests book plates for their entire book group, and so it's like 8 book plates. Of course, I'm very happy to do that, but then I need to know how much postage it is, because if it's not just a regular first-class envelope, do I need to add more stamps? Maybe I'm mailing somebody a copy of Outer Order Inner Calm. If you have a digital scale, then you can figure out the postage yourself and you don't have to go to the post office to do it. Again, this is the kind of thing where a lot of people probably have no need for this at all. But if it's the kind of thing that comes up for you regularly, or even just sort of occasionally, it's one of those things that can really save you a lot of time and energy. I just find that it's strangely handy to be able to weigh little things.
It's funny how there are those items that feel institutional, like we shouldn't even have access to them. And I feel like a digital scale is one of them. Like, wait, I can just get a digital scale. I think you mentioned like a countdown timer when you're speaking, your own countdown timer. There's things that would just feel like, how could I have access to this?
No, I know, exactly. I kind of feel that way. I have a laminator. And it's like, you don't have to be a teacher to have a laminator. Yeah. Just a regular person can have a laminator. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. I thought you had to have a license to have this thing in your house.
All right, Gretch, coming up, we're going to talk about hacks for clearing and staying organized this spring. But first, this break. Do you want to set your child up for success? Is your child asking questions on their homework you don't feel equipped to answer? IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed to help them really understand and master topics in a fun way with positive feedback. Gretch, one of my favorite kids, Violet, uses IXL for middle school math, and let me tell you, her mom is very happy that she does.
Well, the program will improve your kids' grades. Backed by research, kids using IXL are scoring higher on tests. It will work for any of your kids. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Happier with Gretchen Rubin listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/happier. Visit IXL.com/happier to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
At Great Wolf Lodge, you can take your whole family on an unforgettable adventure. It's a world of fun all under one roof. I happen to love water slides, and there are so many water slides and other amazing water attractions at Great Wolf Lodge. And no 2 Great Wolf Lodges are alike, so one might have a lazy river, one will have a wave pool, and they all have so many family-friendly attractions. They also have free daily events and activities, from family-friendly yoga in the mornings all the way through to nightly family dance parties. There's so much to see and do. You're going to want to stay for more than a day. And they have themed suites. Those rooms have got special bunk bed sleeping areas just for the kids, so you can relax and unwind after a long day of splashing and playing.
And best of all, it's just a short drive away. So bring your pack together and wolf out. Learn more at greatwolf.com, greatwolf.com. Book now and strengthen your pack at Great Wolf Lodge.
Okay, Gretch, we are back with hacks. How can we stay organized and get organized?
Okay, this is something that I would say is perhaps not really relevant to our topic, but can I just say it anyway? Which is, if you are buying stamps, I was just talking about the digital scale. I do mail a lot of things. Always buy forever stamps. Forever stamps will always be good. And even if the price of stamps change, and it's very hard to keep abreast of when the price of stamps change,
yes,
they're good forever. I don't know why anybody wouldn't always buy forever stamps. People sometimes don't. Maybe they just forget that you can get forever stamps. But a forever stamp is good forever for like a first-class mail or whatever. So I just ordered 2 rolls of forever stamps this morning, and I was thinking, I really love the forever stamp. So
yes,
I throw that out.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Yes.
Okay, Gretch, one way I know you love to organize things that are hard to organize, and you can explain what kinds of things those are, is apothecary jars.
Okay, this is something that I started when Eliza and Eleanor were little, and I still have them going to this day. And this is, what do you do with little items that don't have a place to go, and yet you want to keep them? And for Eliza and Eleanor, it was all the things they would get sort of in gift bags or in their Christmas stocking, or like a little fun gift that a grandparent got for them just for fun. It was like a miniature set of colored pencils, or a super ball with a rose in it, or a plastic daisy, or something that was fun and that they wanted to keep, but where did you put it? There was no place to put it. So I got these jars, I put them in the jars, and what I love is that, first of all, they look really cool on the shelf.
Yes.
They're colorful, they're bright, they're like variegated. If you have little kids and they're really bored, you just dump out the stuff from the jars and say, like, well, just sort through the things in the jars. This will keep them occupied for hours, especially if you tell them, like, you can pick 3 things to keep from the jars. And then, of course, they're like very focused on what are they going to take. So I would do this sometimes when they're like, a friend would come over and be bored. The one thing I would say is I bought glass apothecary jars. And especially if you think a little kid would be using the jar, it's better to get something that's acrylic or plastic so that you don't have to worry about, the ones I got are like heavy glass, so they wouldn't break easily, but you always feel a little bit nervous when somebody's putting a lid on and off of a glass jar. So we still have these, and I still add things to them from time to time because I'm like, this is a little thing that's fun. Let's keep it, but where does it go? Put it in a jar.
Yes. Gretch, I use an apothecary jar. I think I mentioned this to you recently, in my bathroom for like hair clips and rollers and hair doodads.
You just instituted this recently, right?
Yes, yes. It's a new day in my bathroom.
That's so great. Another thing that I do to keep things organized that are hard to organize is I use a bank box with files in it for my daughters. It was for every year they were in school. Then I have a big file at the back that's for college. And then Jamie and I have one for every year that we've been married. And so it's things like party invitations, our Valentine's Day card. With our daughters, it was their school photo, some kind of typical work that was particularly interesting or outstanding. They got like a certificate from a summer camp or something. And when you're like, oh, it's a paper artifact.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to keep this thing, but where does it go? And also, like, how do you keep it organized? Because it sort of flies all over the place. And now I'm really happy because if my daughters said to me, I would like to see every birthday party invitation for my whole life, or I would love my own collection of our Valentine's Day cards. They have that, or like, what did I look like in 3rd grade? Here is your class photo. Here's your photo. And it's just very satisfying to have a place to put those things so that they're organized.
Yes, it's nice that you each have one. That's smart.
Yeah.
Another thing, Gretchen, smaller than the bank box, but also good for organizing keepsakes, is your Memento keepsake journal. I use this for certain Jack stuff.
Yeah, well, and it was inspired by sort of the same impulse, which is you have these things that you want to organize But how do you organize them? And so with this, it's a book that has all these pockets in it. So you could have a pocket for every year of high school or every year of middle school, or you could have it for every concert that you've ever been to, or there's a lot of different ways you can use it.
Yes, Disneyland tickets.
Yeah, all that kind of thing. In fact, just because there's so many different ways you can use it, I now have a free guide that if you order the Memento Keepsake Journal, it comes with a little guide and thinking about ways to use it. That's at happiercast.com/shop. We'll put links for all this stuff in there. But yeah, that was part of the inspiration for the Memento Keepsake Journal. It's just like, how do you organize these things that you want to keep, but they don't really have a place?
And then another thing we talked about, Gretchen, is protect your most valuable real estate in the house. So the way I'm looking at this is my bathroom counter, for instance, is very cluttered, packed with stuff.
But that's very valuable real estate. That's among the most valuable real estate in your home.
Yes. So what I realized I want to do, and this will be my action item coming out of today's podcast, is I want to get some bins that I can put actually in my closet where I have some room and put things that are on my bathroom counter that I'm not going to use all the time, but that I want to keep. So this would be a duplicate face cream. Like if I have an extra jar of the face cream, so I know I will use it in the future, but I'm using the one that I have open right now.
Right.
Or masks or exfoliators.
Yeah.
Or again, certain hair items that I do want to use, I will use, but right now there's no need for them to be on the counter.
Now, the key to this is going to be to remember what's in there so that you don't run out of the face cream and then you buy another face cream because you forgot you already have a backup face cream. So you sort of have to just like in the habit of every once in a while, just paw through that bin and remind yourself what's there.
Yes. But the good thing is if I know this is where it goes, then I'll know to look there. I feel like sometimes, say I'm out of the face cream, I don't even know where to look and I forget to scan. I don't look. So this is going to be my solution to all of those problems, Gretch. We'll see how it goes.
That's a great idea because they're useful and you will use them and you want to keep them, but they don't need to be in that valuable real estate. This comes up with t-shirts because sometimes people will say to me, oh, but these t-shirts are so important to me. They hold so many happy memories. It's these concert t-shirts. It's my t-shirts from college. And I really, really want to keep them. And I'm like, okay, you can keep them, but you don't need to keep them in your active closet because that is very, very valuable real estate. These aren't t-shirts that you're wearing, probably. They really are keepsakes. And so you can put them in a really nice box and put them in some shelf that's more out of the way, that isn't this day-to-day real estate where we really need the room for the clothes that we're actively wearing, because these are just something that you're keeping because you love them, not because you wear them every day.
Yes, very good point.
And now for some quick ideas for how to keep clutter under control as we go, because the best way to deal with clutter is never to have the clutter accumulate in the first place. And so Elizabeth, way back, was it in episode 1? We talked about the 1 minute rule.
I think it was.
Yeah. And this is something people still talk about. I wrote about it in Outer Order Inner Calm. If you can do something in less than a minute, do it without delay. Hang up your coat instead of throwing it on a chair. Put a book back on the shelf instead of just leaving it on the coffee table, which is something that I often do. I don't reshelve things. I just put them close to the shelf. Put a dish in the dishwasher instead of putting it in the sink. That's another thing that I tend to do. It takes less than a minute. Go ahead and do it. And that gets rid of that scum of clutter on the surface of life, just a minute at a time.
And related to the 1 minute rule is the 10-minute tidy up.
See, I love this. Like every evening when I leave my office, I try to take 10 minutes and just put pens in the pen cup. And like I have a place for everything that I'm going to take out of my office, so nothing is accumulating there. I put books back on the shelf. I file things if things need to go in files. And then it's just so much easier to come back into my office in the morning. And then in my apartment, I do a 10-minute tidy up in the morning while I'm making coffee.
Ah, that's nice.
Because I'm too tired at night. I don't like to clear clutter then. But then I'm like putting away dog toys or putting the pillow back on the sofa and just all that little stuff that is disorderly.
And Gretch, I know you have kind of an aspirational digital decluttering that you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, some people like every single day they go through their photos and they are like, which of these do I not need? And they clear as they go. I think that's a really good idea. I tend to have 3 photos of the same thing, or I'll take a picture of something to remind myself, oh, this is what I want to get at the grocery store. Then I don't need it anymore, but I never clean that stuff out. And I think if I did it day by day, then when it came time to do my photo albums, it would be a lot less burdensome.
Yeah, I'm sure I have dozens of photos of just parking space numbers on my phone.
Exactly. Now, if you want to do more listening, if this is the kind of thing that appeals to you, we have covered it several times, and I think in very fun ways. So if you want to hear the fun time that I was clearing Elizabeth's closet with her, that was episode 10.
Yes. And then in episode 160, you came and helped clear my office.
Yeah. In episode 210, Elizabeth shared her favorite hacks from Outer Order, Inner Calm. She's not a naturally clutter-cleary type of person.
Yes.
Like, those are the really valuable hacks.
And then we also have our Clear the Decks episodes.
So 443 was the first Clear the Decks, which is like a basic one. And then Sweep the Deck, which is about getting ready for summer. That was the More Happier of May 11th, 2024. Those don't have episode numbers. But again, we'll put links to all this in the show notes.
Yes, lots of clutter clearing in honor of spring, Gretch.
So let us know if you do try this at home and what hacks and habits and products work for you. What would you add? As is clear, we are always on the hunt for more. Let us know on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. Drop us an email at podcast@gretchenrubin.com, or as always, go to the show notes. There's going to be a lot of links for this episode. It's happiercast.com/530 for links to everything we talked about.
And what is our resource this week?
Well, I mentioned the Memento Keepsake Journal. So that's one. There's also the Tackle Box. That's also really great for organizing. That's all about these sticky notes for getting organized. The Don't Break the Chain Habit Tracker. That's also something that I could imagine somebody wanting to use for getting ready for spring. It's all at happiercast.com/shop. And that's it for this episode of Happier. Remember to try this at home. Get ready for spring. Let us know what you tried and what worked for you.
Thank you to our executive producer, Chuck Reed, and everyone at Lemonada.
Rate us, review us, follow us. And if you like the show, tell others you know.
Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Kraft.
And I'm Gretchen Rubin. Thanks for joining us. Onward and upward. Elizabeth, I have to stop myself from buying another 3-tier cart. I just feel like these are so useful. I love being able to just zip them out of sight.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get one, even though I don't know what I'd use it for. I just want to have it.
Dangerous. From the Onward Project.